Ladies and gentlemen, this video is being recorded on September 1st, 2025, which means that we are kicking off the final third of the year. And quite fittingly, chess drama is back on the menu. It's currently very bright and sunny outside, but instead of going out there and enjoying myself, I will be breaking it down for all of you. At the center of this drama is none other than Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura. And in this video, I'll tell you all about the drama first, and then I will show you 4 games that Hikaru has played. Now, the good news for you is this is not just a one video type of drama. This will be going on for the next several months. Basically, here's what's happening. In order to qualify for the Candidates Tournament, the 14-round tournament, the Hunger Games of chess, that ultimately crowns the next challenger to go challenge for the World Chess Championship, one of the spots for the Candidates Tournament is the rating spot. And to qualify to the rating spot in the candidates, which you see at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, and I will scroll down, the rules are as follows. You have to be the highest rated player according to the 6-month average from August 1st to January 1st. And you have to play 40 games. Now, Hikaru is the highest rated player, technically, but he hasn't played 40 games. So what did Hikaru do about this? He entered the Louisiana State Championship, a tournament, shockingly, in Louisiana. And his opponents are a mix of players from 1500, 1700, 1800, 2000, and as I'm recording this, he's playing the strongest player in the tournament, somebody I've actually played on this channel, Nicholas Mata, who's rated around 2300. Basically, Hikaru has to play 22 FIDE-rated games to maintain his rating spot. Now, here's the fascinating thing about this. This is what's crazy. Technically, Hikaru is not the qualifier to the rating spot. Technically, it's Magnus Carlsen. He's just not playing the candidates, right? And pay attention. Pay attention. For every win that Hikaru gets, he is gaining 0.8 rating points. There is a rule in the Handbook of Chess that if you beat somebody and you outrate them by 400 points or more, you gain 0.8 points. But here's the thing. It used to be you only get that rating one time in a tournament. In 2024, FIDE changed that rule. So Hikaru is farming players, but it's not about the rating. What he's trying to do is just qualify by playing the amount of games to be a valid person to enter the Candidates Tournament. Now, this has been done the last several cycles, actually. It was done by Ali Reza Firouzja, and before that, it was done by Ding Liren, who needed to play like 40 games in, I don't know, a month or two. Now, there are mixed reactions in the world of chess. Obviously, we have Yanni Pomnishi saying year after year, FIDE Chess literally doesn't care about the rating spot in the candidates. We have Jakob Ogard saying, I'm wondering if they will step in and disallow legal events from being rated again to gloss over how ridiculous the rating spot is. He's a great player, have done immense things for chess. Now, people are not as aggressively going after Hikaru as they are going after the rating spot. And Hikaru himself has admitted that the rating spot is ridiculous. He has called the tournaments that he's entering Mickey Mouse tournaments. I think this is like a reference to something that was said in the past about certain tournaments. He's not trying to insult the tournaments. And in fact, it's kind of special for people in Louisiana State to go to a chess tournament and be able to play Hikaru. He already shared some heartwarming story about a player, like a foreign player who was playing in the event and was just visiting and was played against Hikaru. So it's pretty cool. You get to go to your local state championship and there is Hikaru. The more ridiculous thing is that you are allowed to qualify to the Candidates Tournament by playing FIDE-rated games literally anywhere. And that's, I mean, yeah, good for Hikaru. Hey, fun fact. Hikaru could play like 10 more of these, 10 more games, maybe like 20 to 30 more games. Hikaru could become the #1 rated player in the world. Do you understand that he is 29 rating points away from Magnus Carlsen? He basically needs to win like 30 games. Now, can you go 30-0 against players that are like 2,000, 2,100? Yeah, it'd be hard, but it's a crazy situation right now that's developing. So Hikaru is trying to qualify for the Candidates Tournament. And now I'm going to show you some of his games. He's also recapping these games, obviously, naturally, as you might imagine. So he will share some thoughts from his own brain. I just find this very fascinating that we are in Louisiana, in New Orleans. Hikaru's playing an 1800 rated player. Let's see what happens. Some of these players put up a good fight. Some got scared. His second opponent technically opened with the move e4. Hikaru played the Sicilian defense. White played the Alapin. Hikaru played the main line, which is pawn to d5, initiating a trade in the middle. And now rather than taking with the queen, he played knight to f6, which is, obviously just a slight sideline, hoping the opponent doesn't quite know the opening. The opponent plays a very natural move, and now Hikaru, instead of taking with the queen, he takes with the knight. That was naturally the idea of playing this. A slight sideline, his opponent playing very good moves, all in the middle of the board. Hikaru capturing. Bishop b5 check is given, trying to get, black to put something in the way. He does. He puts the bishop in the way. And now white here should play knight d4 maybe. For whatever reason, he got scared. He didn't want to take this anymore. Maybe he thought that the ensuing position was not great because if you take back, there's some move like e5. And he went queen a4. Queen a4 is not a good move because you never actually took the pawn back on d4. And so Hikaru just grabs another pawn, right? He doesn't actually engage at all with this battery because this is very well protected. And now white commits fully to a gambit. Now for 1800, this is actually quite good chess because, one guy is just going to eat all your pawns, but he's going to open up your position. And notice, by the way, even though maybe taking is the best move, Hikaru doesn't take because it's just going to help white develop. He's going to take with the bishop. He's going to have a very powerful diagonal. Hikaru just targets the bishop and tries to trade the queens because he knows ultimately that he is going to be up a pawn. White correctly declines the queen trade, seeing as though he's trying to play very aggressively in gambit style. Queen c6, queen to e4, and now Hikaru's like, all right, I'm not going to give you this pawn back. Knight to a3, knight to f6, still trying to trade the queens, and now we get a queen trade. So this is our position. 6 pawns for black, 5 pawns for white. Hikaru a clean pawn up, also the benefit of being 995 points higher rated than his opponent. FIDE, not chess.com blitz. And what's kind of funny about this game is that, Hikaru just advanced, put the knight on f4, played knight c6, and you are not looking at this incorrectly. Apparently what happened here is that, and I saw this, saw this written somewhere online. At first I saw in this position that the game just ended, that white just resigned. And I was like, look, I suppose I can understand. Certainly you shouldn't resign here with white. You're only a pawn down, your position's worse, and obviously, you know you're going to lose, you're playing Hikaru, but resigning would be kind of rash. But apparently what happened is white thought for some time and sort of panicked and just hung a rook. Allegedly. Which, listen, you kind of feel for the person. It could be very scary and intimidating playing against Hikaru. I would not play rook e2, but I would play some other moves and then I would lose anyway later and I would still end up panicking. But that's one of the games. I mean, that happens, all right? Now we got more games. All right, we got more games. Let me just make sure that none of these games, jump ahead. There's been this bug recently where some of these games are jumping ahead. Now this is the game with the player who wrote a very nice comment. He's from Colombia, and he was visiting Louisiana. It was his first tournament in some time, something along these lines. And he gets to play Hikaru. Imagine you just enter an obscure chess tournament, and let me be very clear, no disrespect to Louisiana. The Louisiana State Championship is a freaking obscure tournament. Let me just, and you play Hikaru. It's pretty special. So C4. And, I'm very curious. By the way, Hikaru is not rated 2871. I don't know what this is. Yeah, chess.com is showing Hikaru as 2871. That might be his American rating. That might be his American rating, not his FIDE rating. But here it was showing his FIDE rating. So chess.com events, somebody needs to change something because Hikaru's FIDE is not 2871. If his rating was 2871, he would be, he'd be the GOAT. G6. Hikaru playing in a very calm way. I'm very curious to see how Hikaru is going to play these amateur level players that, obviously know some openings, but in the long run, there will be some level differences. So Hikaru plays a very, very positional approach. Pawn takes, rook e8. This is a King's Indian defense where black has already committed to going knight bd7, which comes with some ideas. Black is obviously looking to secure the control of this square. And he does that. He plays exactly like this, and rook e1. Now, Hikaru already is showing his level difference by playing one of the most annoying setups possible. He is overprotecting the pawn in the middle, and he's not allowing black to get any activity. And then he's going to develop his pieces like, b3, bishop f4, probably bring the queen and the rook, and he's going to suffocate you. It's a position where black has to be extremely patient and kind of like wait for his moment. a5 is a very, good move. b3. b3 comes with two ideas, reinforcing, and also if a4, b4, kicking out the knight, always a useful move. Whereas if black had played a4 and you went b4, he would take you en passant. Don't worry about it. b3, bishop f4, g4. And I remember there was this really funny moment here. Like, Hikaru went g4, and his idea was to set up a complete barrier against these pieces, just not let them in the game at all. I remember watching this game, and player with the black pieces, 1930, plays the best move. He plays h5. Same side pawn advance, trying to get Hikaru to commit the pawn forward to g5. Then the knight would come back around. But Hikaru set up this little, like chicken wire type of fence where like very spiky, black can't get through. But the computer thinks that black is better. I was like, what? The 1900 rated player has a slightly equal position, slightly equal, as a slightly, and I mean, microscopically better position with ideas like a4. Like, Stockfish here would already begin smashing the position. It would be chopping, playing a4. But again, it's different when you're 900 points, the underdog. And what ultimately happens is you kind of, I do this as well, by the way, you kind of fail to pull the trigger. You kind of just try to make a move that looks like a move that doesn't blunder. And, you play 96. 96 is not a terrible move by any stretch of the imagination. But now Hikaru trades, and now you put the wrong piece there. It actually would have been better to put the bishop there, right? He takes with the rook. And now Hikaru is going to make some nice improvements. This is not where the bishop belongs. So just like very subtle things. The rook and the bishop don't belong on those two squares. Again, black is just kind of making moves, thinking that he's improving the position. But Hikaru is going to show why he's 2800, right? He brings the rook. Black played a5, but he never actually created the counterplay that is necessary. Black is still kind of moving the pieces around. He's like, I know Hikaru's going to make a jump into my position at some point. I got to be ready. Like, what's Hikaru going to do? Okay, Hikaru now exploiting the poor positioning of the pieces, looking to maybe take the bishop, right, to then use the bishop on this diagonal. Black now takes, but at some point, black is out of easy moves. So he goes back with the knight. Like, he's still making, good improvements. Now Hikaru's looking for a knight to d4. He plays knight, there it is, right? And now, you got to give away the bishop. So it feels like Hikaru's making progress, like just little subtle improvements of the position. But you got to give credit to the guy playing with the black pieces. He's playing fantastic. It's 0.4, 0.3. It's an incredible game. And now what black had to do here is he had to kind of keep the position very solid. He had to go f6, which is a very tough move to play. And the idea of f6 is to then go g5. To set up kind of a dark squared like spike in the position where you don't let this bishop get in and you don't let these pawns get in, and then you put your knight on a dark square, and black is doing great. He's doing really, really well. He doesn't play f6. He doesn't play that move, and now, Hikaru again repositioning to attack the dark squares, and again, g5 continues to be the best move, which is incredible. Like, he's maintaining equality against the second best player in the world. Queen f6, he offers a trade because, again, like, when you're the low-rated player, you kind of think like, well, maybe I trade the queens. By the way, trading the queens here was the best move. But okay, Hikaru goes here, and, he's trying to, again, reposition. Queen to h4. And once again, there is a moment here where, like, black can get the counterplay, and he does. This was an amazing game. 1933, dude, 30 and 0ing people like this to become the #1 rated player in the world. Not easy. Queen to f4, queen g5, take. Yo, dude is keeping equal with Hikaru for 30 moves. This is incredible. This is like, it's really, really incredible. King f2. Now, the problem with playing a 2800 is that you got to play him for the entire game. He's 2800 even in the endgame. And he walks his king up, very nice, and at some point, he's going to start making the progress on this side of the board. And b5 is an overextension because now you create some weaknesses and you take your eye off the center. At some point, every lower-rated player, I'm not saying 1900 is a low rating, I'm saying lower-rated relative to Hikaru. At some point, every lower-rated player in a matchup gets a little too hasty. And now you have a big weakness. And Hikaru targets the rook, and now it's very tough to defend this pawn. So he goes for counterplay, but it's a mess. This is hanging, like, and ultimately Hikaru chops down the position, and this very nice move pins the knight to the rook, and Hikaru's winning. Now, what's amazing is that up to here, even a few moves prior, like Black, this is an unbelievable game. For a 19, like, you should frame this game. You should, like, print out the score sheet, get it signed by Hikaru, frame this game, because this is amazing. This is a type of game you play in a simultaneous exhibition. You know, there's a thing that strong grandmasters do where they go play 30 people at the same time, and it's like a spectacle. And you can get a good position against them because they're distracted with 30 other games. Player with the black pieces did this one-on-one. Very impressive, and Hikaru had to dig deep to win this game, but he won. He won, and the road to the candidates continues, right? He won. Well, I'm spoiling a little bit, but, you know, he advanced the pawn. Rook is going to get out of the way. The pawn's going to promote. The bishop's obviously targeting here, and he won the game. And, you know, Hikaru's going to obviously have to win a lot of games like this, and the players are only going to get better. Here he's playing a 2200 rated player, and then he's playing a 2100 rated player. And then as I'm recording this, he's playing the strongest player, and he's going to have the final round of the day, and he might win the tournament with a perfect 7-0, but, I mean, all these games are instructive in different ways. Like, that was an amazing game. Really amazing game. Now, Hikaru with the black pieces against Ralph Tan plays knight c6, and now he's actually playing the exact same setup that he played, except with the white pieces, right? He's playing the fianchetto, like, you know, he's doing the exact same thing with both colors. Bishop d7, he's trying to go queen c8. I like to play like this as well. And, you know, it's a very annoying setup for white because for white, you know, the English bishop is the one that is going to be putting pressure on the diagonal. Rook b1, a3, b4, these are all different ideas. Knight d5 is stopping bishop to h3 because after the trade, the knight would try to jump in here, but Hikaru immediately trades the knight. a3, rook b8, looking for his own queenside play, d3, and b5. So for every great player, there is a moment you need to break the symmetry, right? And especially when you're playing with black, because black goes second. When you're playing with white, as we saw in this game, you know, the symmetry can get broken quite early, and then it's just a game of kind of improving and putting pressure and all this stuff. Here, you've already broken the symmetry. So when you're playing with white, you know, you kind of want to subdue the 2800 because you're like, he's so strong, right? How do you subdue? You try to trade some pieces, etc. Problem is, if you play too passively, Hikaru will chop, and then instead of taking on b2, which allows counterplay, he's immediately going to start swarming. Like, if you play too, it's the same in boxing, right? If you don't throw a punch, like, the opponent will just start hitting your stomach, your liver, your arms, your head, you know? Like, if you cover up the whole time, yeah, it's defense, but at some point, the other guy, you know, he's going to hit you, and here Hikaru is doing, you know, his best. And he's throwing some punches. He grabs the bishop. So now he has the dark squared bishop on the board. And of course, I mean, here with black, you can simply castle. But the best move is a5. This is a very, very nice move from Hikaru. b4 is now basically impossible. It will never be possible. And even though white has a nice position, queen d8 here is played to just kind of minimize all the pressure. Queen d8, also defending the pawn. At some point, Hikaru is going to have to castle, and he does. And this is a picturesque kind of mini lesson in the fact that black has a substantial positional advantage. Why? You have meaningful pressure on white's position on a specific target. This is also a weakness because this pawn can't really go up to protect it. This pawn will undermine this pawn. So this is where Hikaru is going to try to make his bread and butter. I don't know why he's churning butter in the Louisiana State Championship, but I guess he has some weird hobbies. And these pieces are better than these pieces. White's pieces are nice, but they don't have any forward mobility at all. Rook c1. Hikaru clamps down on these two pawns. f4. This move looks like you're trying to make some progress, right? You're trying to do something, but you just moved your rook here. So that pawn lost its supporter. So Hikaru plays rook e8, and he's maybe even going to open the middle of the board. Maybe. Knight back to c3, knight a5. Again, exploiting the queen side. Queen e2, queen c8, queen a6, bishop e6. Just different ideas. Now bishop c6. Now maybe the queen's going to come out and play on the diagonal. Okay, knight back to d2, e5. Every move is punishing. Like, isn't this incredible? Like from this position to create 2 targets, which he then completely logs down and is constantly threatening to win. And then when the rook went here and the pawn went up, he goes e5. Why does he go e5? And why did he play rook e8? Because white went f4. Every move you make, white is a master. He's a master level player. He's better than 99% of you watching this. 99.99% of you. Maybe Ralph Tan is going to watch this video. It's just crazy that every move is met with a punishing blow. Hikaru plays queen e6, targeting this, opening the e-file, pressuring the e-file. The position is minus 3.3 despite being materially equal. Knight g5, queen e7, target, 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 target. White's pieces are like shoes. They're just all tied together. Takes, takes, there it is. The beginning of the end. The collapse of the white position. Pawn takes, he wins a pawn. All of white's position is about to fall apart. Knight takes pawn. And as a bonus, it's not even the b2 pawn that's going to fall. It's like the king is going to get straight up mated. Knight g4, rook h2 is mate. Now, I have a feeling white just volunteered himself for a checkmate, which is very honorable. But, I mean, dude, this is a master level player. And, it's so impressive that every move Hikaru makes has a it's a digging hook to the body, and you got to protect it. And then he comes over the top. I don't think Hikaru is actually physically assaulting his opponents, but metaphorically speaking, like, these are really good players. A lot of people would really love to be 2200, and it's just amazing. Now, the next player that Hikaru played, he gave a whole lore about in his own recap, but this player with the white pieces in the previous round defeated a much higher rated player, 2200, and sacrificed a queen to do it, which is pretty epic. I think the other story about this was that, his opponent was maybe 50 or 60 years old, and had been playing chess for some time. And it was really special. It really puts it into perspective that top players visiting tournaments and meeting local communities of chess players is really a special thing. It's just kind of hilarious that, the rating spot is up for grabs. So c4. And Hikaru was talking about the fact that in this game, just like against Villamil in the game against the Colombian player, he needed to keep his opponent at bay. By the way, look at this. Same exact opening. Same exact opening, right? Same thing. Pretty funny. Now, the Colombian player went here and here. Black went c6 in this game. h3 was played by Hikaru, just a move generally preventing knight to g4. And then Hikaru locked the position. First, he played d5, and now black played c5. Now, this is actually a very intriguing setup, right? This is a very intriguing setup because if black is given time in the King's Indian, black will start a pawn avalanche. He's going to reposition his pieces, and Hikaru himself has played the King's Indian like a million times. Now, Hikaru very quickly knows that, so he starts his own play, because in the King's Indian, black can't defend 2 sides of the board at the same time. Shulinkamp plays knight e8, Hikaru plays queen c2, black gets the pawn to f5. Hikaru plays knight g5, looking to immediately exploit the pawn in e6. Like I said, every move is a punishing blow. Knight to f6, you chop down the middle to open up the bishop. Here, queen e2, getting the queen out of danger, it was hanging. h6, and it looks like he's got to go back. It looks like you have kicked Hikaru out of your position. But unfortunately, you have not. And when this move arrives on the board and your opponent is 2800, you know something has gone wrong. What's the point? Takes, 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 takes. Sorry. If queen takes, white is able to at least win a pawn back and maybe even a second pawn. And black does not have the attack. Black does not have the pawn storm. Black has a weak set of pawns potentially in the middle of the board. Black has a weakened king against white's light squared bishop. White has a very nice positional advantage. So Hikaru outmaneuvers the King's Indian against his opponent. His opponent is fighting back. Hikaru plays knight d5, a very nice move here, threatening the queen and the knights. So you got to do this. And I've been making analogies that Hikaru is a boxer. This is like having the hands locked in wrestling. You got the hands locked. A takedown is coming. I mean, the pawn is defending the pawn and the bishop is defending the pawn, and you're just not going to break those pawns out of your position. It's just a matter of time before white breaks through. And Hikaru does exactly that. He sets up the bishops. Very nice position. Every square is completely controlled. Rook c1, Queen g4 putting pressure. Nice move by black, looking for counterplay against the bishop. Hikaru keeps it nice and simple. There is no knight e2 check. Rook d1. This pawn is 2 squares away from queening. You can stop it, but you will lose those center pawns. And then this is a winning endgame because you just have a 2-pawn advantage. And you will win it. You will win it because the pawn is so strong. Black has to play passively. Rook a6, rook c6. Hikaru is going to bring his pawns. He's going to bring his king. Black resigns because white will literally walk to c7, remove the blockade, promote the pawn, and win the game. So as I'm recording this, Hikaru has 4 out of 4. His rating is 2,810. What's amazing is that his peak rating ever is 2,816. Ever, I think. I think that's his highest rating of all time. So folks, if Hikaru, so he has played 4 games. He needs to play 18 more. If for all 18 of those games, he's going to gain 0.8 rating, that means, I mean, he might make a draw, but that means he's going to gain 14 points. So by the time this journey is over, Hikaru is going to be rated 2,824, 25-ish. He's going to be 14 points away from Magnus. You know what he should do? He should go for the rating spot. Can you imagine how ridiculous that would be? That would show, in a nutshell, the ridiculousness of the chess, ELO, and ranking system. It just would. It just would. I don't know. And I have complained about the format of chess like a bunch. And maybe the format technically relies on people not exploiting it because that's just the way society functions, right? Like, but I think it's hilarious, and I will be covering this as well. Not to take away from Hikaru's thunder, but just to get this out to as many people as possible. You know, the casual fans of the chess world. So Hikaru's trying to make the candidates. He knows that it's a hilarious way to do it. The rules say he can do it. We'll see if the international governing body actually steps in and changes the rules, because I don't think it's allowed, but you never know. That's all I have for you today. Get out of here.